What's up, everybody? So if you follow me on Instagram, then you already know that about 2 weeks ago, I rented and tested the Sony A9 with the two mainstream lens adapters, the Sigma MC11 and the Metabones Mark V, so that I could use all of my Canon glass, as I'm very interested in possibly switching to Sony, but I'm unwilling to afford the cost of selling off all my top shelf Canon glass to do so. So this was an incredible experience for me to see how this will actually perform in the real world and if this is something that I really want to do. Here was that experience. Now, before I jump into this and take you along on one of the shoots that I did with the A9 and my Canon adapted glass, I need to explain two things to you. First, I need for everyone to know that my thoughts are going to be a mix of subjective feelings and points of actual, undeniable facts. In both cases, this is coming very much from my perspective as a real-world working pro photographer and someone who only makes their money from photography. I'm saying this because people who are hobbyists or enthusiasts or are YouTube reviewers or just love to buy nice gear to play around with may not be able to fully relate with some of the expectations that I have as someone who needs things to be a very specific way, and most all of the YouTube videos that I've seen out there are done from people who, for the most part, are not working pros anymore. They're doing testing in very controlled and very static situations, and this can be very misleading for someone like me who sees this and gets so excited and then thinks it's going to work well in the real world situations in the same way. So the benefit of what I'm saying is that I represent the people out there who are in fact working pros, who like me have a ton of money invested in Canon glass and are really interested in switching to Sony, and are wondering if their adapted Canon lenses are going to work well or good enough for the type of work that they do. So I hope to answer this right now. The second thing is that you need to understand why I want to make a switch. I no longer get that itch to just buy new gear anymore. This was the case when I first started out, and even today I carry some debt because of it, which is not good. I very much look at the camera systems as hammers and screwdrivers to get the job done. This is a business for me, and I want the best tool to do that job, but that does not always mean that I need to get the latest and greatest tech to do that. So in March of 2012, I pre-ordered the Canon 1DX. I was one of the first ones to enter in my credit card when that was announced. July the same year, I took possession of my $7,000 camera and was in total love. Before this point, I spent 2 years with the 5D Mark II and grew to hate that autofocus system in that camera. I decided to skip the Mark III, go right for the big gun, and now, 6 years later, over 700,000 shots I've put on my 1DX. This monster, I can tell you, I love everything about it, except for one thing, and that's the physical size and the weight of this camera. I have been to the emergency room already once because I had back-to-back weddings that were 12 hours apiece, and waking up in the morning with massive back spasms that would make me scream. This was all attributed to the massive heavy weight of this camera, and I've gotten to the point now where I truly dread holding it, and it's now affecting my energy levels. It affects my motivation, and just in general, this is a bad situation that's getting worse with every wedding that I attend. Now, before anyone says or goes, before anyone tells me I need to go to the gym or you need to use a monopod or you should get the 5D Mark IV because it's smaller, obviously I know all this stuff, and you're absolutely right. Those are all good points. The autofocus system of the 5D line of cameras has gotten very good, but it's not at the same level as the pro bodies. And my problem is that I've gotten used to that blazing fast autofocus performance of the 1DX, and now, for me, there's no going back. And this is the subjective part that I was talking to you about. Most wedding photographers use the 5D Mark III or the 4. They love it, and I would agree, the Mark IV would be the best choice for most people. And even myself, I might be forced to have to rethink some of this myself. But the 1DX, it's designed to balance well with huge glass, big lenses, and it was never intended on being a handheld camera for hours on end. And so this is where I really need to make a change. I mean, my God, I've dealt with this for 6 years, and I've shot over 200 weddings with this camera. So if anyone knows, it's me. So the main thing that attracts me to the Sony is the small form factor. It weighs nothing in comparison to this 1DX, and it's truly a dream in that regard. But this is not the only thing that I really wanted. The EVF, the eye autofocus, and the face detect. I also love the silent shooting mode and the ability to switch to an APC size sensor on the fly, effectively getting more reach out of my glass. That's insane. So the overall package on what the Sony offers right now is really out of this world, and I want in on that technology. After seeing some YouTube videos from some of the big guys, and I won't mention any names, showing how the IAF worked well on adapted Canon glass, I said to myself, okay, this is it. I'm going to finally sell the 1DX. I'm going to get the A9. I'm going to use the adapters, and then I'll slowly sell off my Canon glass and one by one buy these Sony native lenses to replace them all. This was, in all honesty, my plan. I was going to get the A9 as my main camera, and then I was going to pick up an A7 III for a backup, but first I needed to rent it. I needed to truly see for myself that this is going to work. It's going to work well for the type of work and the type of expectations that I have, and I'm really glad that I did that, and you're going to be very glad that I did that too. So I'm going to cut now to some footage on the shoot that I did with a model out in the field before my wedding, and take you along for that experience, and so you can see what that was like, because overall it was not very good. Now keep in mind, I spent 2 full days learning the camera, fully understanding the autofocus system, how it works, all the different modes, and what the best setup would be for the type of shooting that I was going to be doing before I went out in the field. I did not just get this, unbox it, run out the door, and am now crying that it's not working. I can assure you of that. All right, so let's check out the footage. Let's do it. So the one thing that is formatting the card. So I don't know if you can see my camera screen here. Let me bring it in. So I'll go to format slot 2, and on the 1DX, when I go and format a card, it's instant. It's within just like 2 seconds. Even my 128 gig card that I use as a backup, it formats in like 2 seconds. Right now I'm running dual 64 gigs, one as primary and one as backup. And as you can see here, it is still formatting the card. So this is not good in a fast pace. Can I halfway down the shutter? No, I can't use the camera until it finishes. It's still going. It's still going. Now it's done. So I have not seen that on any A9 review yet, but keep that in mind. Formatting the card is several seconds. What was that, like 30 seconds maybe? Yeah. All right, guys, so real quick, I'm just gonna run through all the custom functions and how I have the A9 set up for my personal use. This is very close to how I have my 1DX set up, and for me, I think it's gonna work great. So check this out. So first out of the gate, we have custom button C1 and C2. C1 I have set for ISO. I push this, it brings up the ISO chart. Very quick to adjust that then with the shutter wheel or the aperture wheel. C2, I push this, I can adjust my white balance on the fly, which is great. On the back panel here, C3, if I push this, it's gonna register my current camera settings to either 1, 2, or 3 memory slots, which are then recalled on this jog dial, 1, 2, and 3. That is super important for like a wedding situation where the bride's gonna walk in down the runway of the church, and I've got my camera set to manual, and I have everything set, the white balance, the exposure value, everything is great, but as she comes up to the top of the altar, I'm gonna wanna turn and maybe shoot some reactionary shots of the groom and all that, and he might be in a completely different lit situation, which is generally the case. So usually there's more tungsten light up at the top of the church. The exposure is usually a lot brighter up there because there's more light up there. So I need to be able to register that. So what I do before the wedding is I'll look at this, and then I'll switch over, and I'll go and I'll get those settings, and I'll register that to slot number 1. And I'll have that set so that I can quickly go from her walking down the aisle, and then as I turn, I switch that over, and then it's already preset, and I can keep shooting right along like that, and that's amazing. The other thing I do is before the ceremony starts, I'll actually set a third function with my flash, and I'll do some pre-shots in the main aisle to simulate the departure after they kiss and come down the main aisle. I'll set my flash power and everything set so that I can just very quickly rifle through those shots. All right, going back here, that's C3. Okay. The next thing I have is Detect Autofocus. I have set here to the AEL button, so I can push and hold this, and it's going to find the eye in the frame, which is the big deal with the Sony mirrorless cameras. So we're going to see how that works. Down here, C4, if I push this is going to actually toggle the live view preview on or off. One of the concerns that I had with shooting with the mirrorless EVF is the fact that oftentimes, like even today, I might want to overpower the ambient and get like a rich blue sky, and I use a lot of off-camera lighting, as you all know. So the problem is that the baseline exposure value in the camera may very well be set very dark without the lighting, and so the EVF I won't be able to see or compose or even focus on the subject. So that's super important. So I can just hit that C4 button and tell it off, and then I can shut that down, and then the electronic viewfinder pretty much replicates what a regular optical viewfinder would be in any other camera. It's not showing me an exact preview of what the settings are going to be, and that's awesome. So that really allows me to use the off-camera flash without having to worry and deal with like having a dark frame. The other functionality here is this guy here, the AF on button. I don't do I can't say that. I don't do back button focus. So I actually remapped this button here to toggle between the electronic and the mechanical shutter. So this way I can be in a wedding situation, which again is most of my work. So I can just, go, and if I need to be very quiet or if I need to get really close to the altar or get up close at the church, I can just simply hit that button, thumb down, hit silent, and it's completely silent. It makes zero noise. It's pretty scary and pretty awesome. So that's really good. All right, guys. So here is the custom mint. Oh, what the fuck?
Right there.
All right, guys. So here's the custom menu that I have set at my camera. I have format for the memory cards. Recording mode, I can toggle between either one card or two cards, which is pretty convenient. APS-C, I can toggle between either a full frame sensor or a crop sensor to get extra reach out of my telephoto, which is pretty cool. I have face detection on or off. Auto review I have set here. In some cases, I want to turn this on or off just to not have to see every photo that I take because I'm already previewing it in the viewfinder. But in some cases, like today where I'm using off-camera flash, I do want to see the file after I take it because that way I can see what the completed shot looks like. So that's important to be able to toggle that. And then this last one I have set up is my finder and monitor settings. This is where I can turn off the back display or the viewfinder. And that's helpful, I think, to save the battery. All right, we'll just do a couple of tests here. Let me just have you stand there again. All right, guys, so here we are. We just got her all set up. I'm just confirming. So I'm in flexible spot, large in terms of the focus area. And I'm using autofocus single shot, so it's AFS. And I'm looking at it. I have face detect enabled. It is detecting her face with the converted lens. I get the white box. And I also have the box of the joystick, and both of them I have on her face. And when I halfway down the shutter, it hunts. It's hunting and hunting and hunting and hunting. It's not locking focus. There, I finally got one locked. I just took it. Although I just realized that I'm in electronic shutter. Let me switch that back to mechanical. Let's see if that makes any difference. Perhaps that. No, same thing. That didn't make any difference. Yeah, it's hunting. I mean, everything is directly on her face. There it goes. There it goes. Now the difference there, that wasn't quite at 200. That was at like about 140 millimeters. Let me go right to 200. This may be a factor here when we're looking at this. The difference may very well. I gotta hold it there. Yeah, it's having a hard time. So it's having a hard time. It's basically not locking onto her face at all with the MC11 adapter. There it goes. I got one. Hold it there. We're pretty sure we'll get pictures today. We're pretty sure. Don't worry. I have another thing I brought with us. So, but this is all important stuff. Now I'm going to drop it into AFC continuous, and let me try IAF. IAF was not working at all. There it goes. It picked it up. No, and now it's not. And it's just not doing it. Now let me try to turn off face detect. Let's try to troubleshoot here. Face detect, let's turn this off. This way it's just the AF point that I can manually control in the frame. And I have the box right on her face using the large flexi spot, and it is just not doing it. Now if I rack the lens out, let's just compare. Let's go to 100 millimeters, okay? Come physically closer, which is not what I want. I would never shoot this way because now I lose all the compression. Here it has no problems. IAF, no problem. It's tracking right onto her face. So this may be a unique issue with this particular lens. I don't know, but that's certainly a factor. Here it seems to work. Now we turn back on face detect. Hang on. Let's go back to the menu system and let's re-enable the face detect on, and let's just see if that jumps and locks on here at 100. Yeah, so there it goes. Yeah, found her face. Yeah, no problem there. Let me move the cursor also in that vicinity. There we go. And now it's locking very nice. And if I hold down the eye autofocus, that's tracking very well. That's it. I have it in continuous. It's doing it perfect. There, it works fine. So the conclusion is with the MC11 adapter, latest firmware update, Canon Mark II EF 70-200 on the A9 body at 200 millimeters exactly, not good. Not good. It's not locking focus. This is probably the issues I was having in some of my tests around my house and with my 5-year-old son. I noticed it was not doing well. If you start to then rack the focus back in, 135, let's try it at 135. That's the next marker on the lens. Let's see if that does it. At 100, which is what I was doing just now, it was working pretty good. It looks like it works fine here at 135. Let's try IAF. And yeah, see it. Yeah, there it goes. Kind of, a little bit. It definitely is having a problem there. So that's super annoying. There we go. There's her face. It's locked there. Good. Hold it there. Perfect. Good. Won't work at 200. That's the conclusion. Now, with the Metabones adapter, which we'll check in a minute when she does an outfit change, we'll see if that makes any difference. I am super curious, though, to throw on the 85, which we have with us here, and let's just see how that works. So let me just make that lens exchange now. So far, Canon 1, Sony 0 with adaptive lens. You guys need to know, I want this to work more than anybody in the world. And so far, I don't know. I use the 70-200 for 90% of my photography, as you all know by watching my channel. And so that's a huge factor. If that isn't gonna register at 200 millimeters, and that's the whole point. I use high compression for a lot of my shots to obliterate the background, and that not working with the MC11 is a big thing. So we'll see in a second if it works with the Metabones adapter. My gut feeling said it's gonna be the same story. We'll see. All right, let's see here with the lights now powered on, and we overpower the ambient here with the shutter. So now we're doing high speed with the Chrome remote at 1/3200th of a second. Okay, good, let's try that. Let's just see if I can get that. Now, ideally, the 200 millimeter lens is what I need to pull this off. I don't know if I can get in close, if the minimum focus distance on this lens is gonna work. Looks like it will, let's see. Let's try the IAF again. Turn your face this way a little bit, good. So the problem now with the IAF is that it's picking different eyes. We need one, there we go. There's the closest one. So let's power these lights down a little bit. Exposure value here, guys, f1.2, 1/1600th of a second, ISO 100. And face detect is working well. I can tell here in the viewfinder on the image review that the images are definitely sharp and clear. Chin down a little bit more, good, right there. Whoop, that one didn't fire. Let's try it again. Yeah, so what I'm seeing here, guys, is that the IAF, despite the fact that I have her turning her face a little bit to the light source, which is what I want, in other words, it puts one eye closest to the camera. So obviously, I mean, the IAF would want to pick up on that closest eye. For whatever reason, in this particular case, with the Canon 1.2 at 1.2, it is for some of them, but for the rest of them, it's going to the other eye. And then in a lot of the frames, the eye detect isn't detecting any of the eyes, and it's just defaulting to the face detect. And at 1.2, that's dangerous because I might be getting her nose in focus. It is hard to tell. The EVF is amazing. It's super high res, and I can almost see where the focus is in the EVF. I can see that a few are okay, which is nice. Luckily, this is not a paid shoot, and we don't need 500 pictures that are perfect. I think we get a handful that are great. That's awesome, and we'll all be happy. But nevertheless, that's another concern. So I'm going to try a couple things here. What I want to try to do is I want to move the AF mode from large large flexible spot to the medium, and let's just shut that down a little bit to give it less of an area to think about. And let's see here if we can come in close to fill the frame with her as a starting point. And then right now, if I just halfway down, it's doing what it should. It's detecting the face, which is good. The problem with that, though, is that I don't really know what's in focus. But I'm going to take a few like that without worrying about the IAF so we can compare later. Can you have all the hair go around this way? It's like, you know, it's not a 1DX. It's just not. Like, it's just not as fast. It's not as, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Let's try it there. That's nice. Good. Try to bring the hair more down the cheek line. Yeah, it's a little bit. There we go. That way we create a nice line there with the hair. Right. It'll be like a little flyaways. We can touch those up after the fact. That's it. Let me just check the light here now. We've moved all around. Good. Bring the arms closer to the body slightly. Good. Right there. Yes. Yes. Right. Hold it there. And that's a perfect test for this too, because I want to shoot purposely at the really shallow depths of field, because we know if it will shoot really well wide open, we know it will do everything else. And if it won't, then we know, that's the limit of what we can do with it. And that's what today's about, is finding those limits and figuring out what those boundaries are, which makes me want to throw on, hang tight. Now I'm going to go back to the other lens. I'm perplexed on how that's just not doing it. So there, I mean, am I at 200? I am at 200. Okay, I'm at 200. You know what, guys? It's an issue in portrait mode. That's what it is. So see, notice the speed I'm shooting now. It's faster. Although yeah, there's IAF. Yeah, good. Hold it there. There's the eye. Now the lights are too hot, which is a good problem. Just roll those back to 25. By the way, guys, I'm using these Quadras, 25 watt seconds. Shutter speeds at about 800 parts of a second at 2.8, and that's pretty amazing. Chin down a little bit more. Slightly just breathe through your mouth for me. Yes, hold that there, hold it there. I'm trying to get that IAF, hold it. Hold it again, hold it again. Bear with me. Let me get the cursor right on the eye here, hang tight. 200. Yeah, it's defaulting to face detect, which is fine. It looks great in the camera, but it's not picking up her eyes. Let me get a little closer. Now I'm maxed out at 200. Now I have to, if I zoom out a little bit, the IAF works great. See that? There it goes. Let me come in a little closer. Again, if I zoom out, there it's picking up IAF. But that's not what I want. See, I don't want that. I want 200. Let's go back this way now. Chin down a little bit. Same thing. That's it. Eyes right at me. IAF. There it goes. So it's an issue in portrait mode. It's chin down a little bit. Yeah, right there. Hold it like that. Relax that jawline. Take a deep breath and slowly blow it out. Yeah, hold it there. IAF. Good. Closest eye to me. Come on. It's going furthest eye. It's going furthest eye. So I'm not just going face detect. Got her in a blank. Hold it there. Come on. Got her another blank. Yeah. Hold it there. I have a knack for that. Go more serious like you were doing. That's it. Right there. Hold it there. Come on. There we go. Let's get this. Let me try one more time. IAF. It's jumping to the farthest eye. That's so weird. Turn your face slightly a bit more to the light source. Good. Now we have a defined eye right to the camera. And IAF, it's going to her far eye. It's not what I want. And I have both the flexible spots at the medium. It's right on her eye. Face detect is coming online, and it's just not working. Okay, it's beating a dead horse here. All right, thank you. Take a quick little breather here. So, conclusion is this, is that the Canon 70-200 with the MC11 Sigma adapter at 200 millimeters in portrait mode, IAF really doesn't work at all. I mean, it just doesn't, at least in this scenario. Now, we might move somewhere else. The light might be a little bit different. Maybe it'll pick her up, maybe it won't. I have no idea. We're going to do a couple more outfits and we're going to change the whole location. I'm also going to shoot full-length shots. We'll see what it does there, but it's struggling. I turn it to landscape mode, and the IAF does work, but it's not, and I have her pointing her face into the light, so I have a closest eye to the camera, and it's picking the far one 9 times out of 10, if I even get 9 AFs to even work per button push. And what I was noticing is that the face detect was registering her face, so I was just actually just defaulting to that just so I get something for her and for me to look at later. But the IAF, very few frames there, whereas they actually getting the IAF to work with this lens. The 85 at 1.2 worked better with IAF than this one does. And I'm very, very surprised at that. I would have thought for sure it had been the opposite of that because of the shallow depth of field variance. But it appears as the focal length makes the biggest difference here. I don't think it has anything to do with the aperture value at all. I think it has to do with the amount of data that it's seeing in the viewfinder. And when you compress at 200 millimeters, it's a very specific slice that it's having to analyze. Maybe that's where this is all going wrong. That's certainly what I see right now. We'll see in a minute. So with that analogy, if I threw on a 16 to 35, it should be no problem, right? Because of the focal length variance is now on the opposite end of the spectrum. We'll shoot a few wide angles toward the end of the session, but so far, not what I was hoping for. It's not what I was hoping for. All right, before we change, let's just try a full length. Let me just experiment for a second from back here. Now, obviously IAF at this distance, I don't expect it to do it, but we'll see. All right, let's see here, hang tight. So here it's, oh my God. All right, I'm at 200, I'm gonna back off. At 200, I wasn't doing anything. No focus lock whatsoever.
Is that 2.8?
It is at 2.8, so let me try it. I'll adjust it, I'll adjust the aperture value. Here, we'll go f5.6. So I'm at f5.6, guys. It kind of finds her face, but it won't lock on it. It won't go green. The box just stays gray. Yeah, it's not locking on at 5.6 from back here. We come up close at 5.6 to see if the aperture value did, in fact, make any difference. Again, I'm even questioning if the lens is even in autofocus mode. That's what it feels like from my perspective. It's in AF. I'm gonna power cycle the camera. Camera's off. I mean, you never know, you might be right. Turn it back on. Let's see, this is the one. All right, guys, exposure value here. I'm at 1/500th of a second. For the hell of it, let's just put it at 200. I mean, that won't affect anything, but whatever. ISO 160, it has no effect. Aperture's 5.6. Okay, we're well stopped down. Let's see here. If there's any difference, 200 millimeters, portrait mode. Pretty model. What more is it? Come on, camera. So the face detect, like before, I get the green box, and it works fine there, and it registers her face. Now, IAF, I'm holding down IAF. It's not working on me. A little closer here. And now I've lost all focus. Okay, there it goes, reacquire. And I'm using the joystick to manually drop the focus cursor on the eye, just as an extra whatever. And all I'm getting is face detect. And the shots are in focus with the face detect. IAF, however, is not in this mode. Just turn the camera this way, still 200. Hit down the IAF, and it does work on the far eye. Turn your face to the light. Good. Now we have a very clear eye that's closest to the camera. That's the eye I want it to lock onto, and it's not. It's jumping to the other one. Hold on a second here. Totally, right? Like, you almost need to do that. Like, there it goes. So that one was there. Turn a little this way. Good. Untilt the head. Straighten up the head. Yes. Good. Hang on. All right, let's try it there. IAF. Yeah, and I even have the cursor on the closest eye. Face detect is registering the face. IAF is going right to the far eye at 200. Let's just cut the difference. Let's go to 70, and let's come in super close here now, which is just ridiculous. We never use this lens at 70, but let's just see if it works. Yeah, same thing, guys. IAF. There it goes. Closest eye. Closest eye, portrait mode at 70 millimeters. Again, 5.6. Closest eye. And closest eye. So there's something attached to the focal length of the lens. It's not the aperture value. It's definitely the focal length. When I'm at 200, 135, even at 100, it's not really working. It's certainly not reliably, and certainly nothing I could use in a wedding dynamic with the adapted lens with this adapter. So I'm going to have to run to my car now. We got to get the other adapter because this is really the tell. This really is the tell. As a matter of fact, I think I should do it before we even leave this setup, because if we go somewhere else, we could argue that, oh, it's a different scenario. You know what I mean? You mind just hanging out here in the shade? Just, it won't take me that. It'll take me like probably 3 minutes to run to the car. You want to get it? Oh, that'd be great. Here. So now we've got the Metabones Mark V adapter. Power the camera off. Power the camera on. Let's see. All right, let's see if there's any difference. So let's start back to where we were. 200, and let's get this back to 2.8. And the shutter was probably around 400 for the ambient. Let me get the frame where I want it here. And let's see any difference. So right out of the gate, face detect is not working. Let me move the joystick up and manually focus on her. That's also not working. Okay, let's try IAF. And it's not working either. I can't even take a picture. Let me just confirm settings here. I'm going to do this on camera so there's no confusion here, okay? So Canon EF 70-200, it's in autofocus, Metabones adapter. The light is blue on the Metabones adapter, whatever mode that is, the little LED is blue. Okay, focusing mode is autofocus S for single shot, non-continuous. Let me go to my function button here. The mode, I'm in focus area, flexible spot, medium. Let me just change it to large. I don't think that will make any difference here. Face detect is on, and that's it. So let's try it again. Let's try it again with this one. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to buy her lunch at Houston's in a minute. Hang on a minute. All right, so here we go again. See, at 200 millimeters, it's just not. Yeah, it's not doing it. Like the box is dark gray. It goes white for a second, and it keeps hunting. It keeps hunting. I dropped the actual cursor with the joystick and my thumb to her face. I'm halfway downing the shutter, nothing. Let me roll the lens out to 135. Let's go to 100 just to save time here. Okay, saved. I mean, it's just not. I got one green box, but it wouldn't take the picture. IAF, I'm holding that down. IAF, the box does go green. What's up with that? So IAF locks. IAF button down locks the face. That's at 100. Does it do it at 200? And I just didn't try it. Let's try it again. 200 millimeters. Coming back here. You can see the model in the frame too, right, with the camera? So you can see the physical distance here? Okay. All right, IAF at 200, it just doesn't do it. It's just not. There we go. It found her face, not the eye. What's interesting here is when I hit the IAF button, it's like activating the face detect, whereas before. Now we try this orientation to see if it's there's a big difference with portrait mode and landscape. Big difference. Now in landscape mode, everything works. What is going on? Everything works. 200 millimeters. Turn your face slightly to the light. Yeah, right there. So there's a defined eye. It's still not finding it's finding her far eye. It's not find. Why the hell isn't it finding the closest eye? It's finding the farthest eye away from the camera. Got a blink there. It's fine, good. Here, let's we grab you this panel. This will give you your hands out of the frame as well. Let's put a little fill light under the frame so it's just about like the makeup and hair. Yeah, that's it. Raise it up like almost like this. Pull it in, try to relax the shoulders in. Aim the panel down. Have all the hair come around this side. Should have probably had you start with that. That's good there. Awesome, good there. Turn the face, drop the chin. Eyes to me, good. Let's try it there. So we'll go again, landscape mode. We'll fill the frame with her. And we have a defined eye. So I'm gonna start with regular, okay, there's face detect. There's eye detect. Hold it there. Hold it there. Now the light's just too bright. Let me just try to ramp that down. Let me just check the power here. It's already at minimum. So in that case, what I'm gonna do is actually just adjust it here with the shutter. Yeah, that took some of the light out. All right, hold it there. Yeah, that's it, nice. Chin down a little bit more. Yeah. There, finally it works. I'm at 200. Yeah, no, you do your thing, I know. It's tricky. You get the wind and the squirrels, it's crazy. All right, hold it there. Good, hold it there, good. Beautiful. Try it this way again, because this is really the orientation here. I mean, technically we could, why is it any different? I don't know. It found her here. Man, it's not, it is definitely, pretty much want to smash everything around me right now. I want to just get out of this area now, just to see if we're, just to see what else it does. I want to try full length shots next, I think. All right, let's finesse your pose a bit. Hang like that. So I like what you're doing. Let's just make a couple of changes, okay? Let's define you up a little bit more. So what we'll do is, starting with the shoes, lock that down, that's great. Legs look fine. The waistline, however, we want to twist it away from the light. So that'll, correct, yes. Even more if you can. You'll feel, it's a workout. Now, turn your face back to the light, like that. Yes, eyes to me. I like that very much. This hand, yeah. No, let me just see, pull the skirt a little bit. Yeah, just kind of cool to show the ruffles. It's nice. And then this hand, like what you were doing, really kind of go up in there, roll the elbow back, roll the shoulder back. As a starting point, have the hair come around this way more. Sorry, I always do that. I always get it like all locked down, and I'm like, oh wait, the hair. As if a hair girl is going to come and do it for me. That's what it's laziness. You used to working with them on set, and they come and do it. So that's nice. Turn your face to the light source. Yes. In fact, even looking off this way for a few. That's nice. Stay like that, and just wait for me here. Good. Hold it there. Good. Hold it there. Undo the skirt thing. Go back to both hands into the waistline. Just turn the waist more away, turn the face back almost to the shoulder line, looking off that way now. Drop the chin lower so you're looking higher up. Yes, like that. Oh, the damn wind, hang on. That's it, hang on. If I had a faster camera. Grab the hair, make it a part of the pose. Let's just cheat a little bit. Bring it down and hold it there so it stays in place. Drop the chin down quite a bit. Yeah, eyes at me, beautiful. Hold it there. Looking right at me, nice. Stand by, hold it there. Bring that light on the top here. Yeah, I think it'll work, and I'll move the other light. Push the power down on that pack to like 50 watts. All right, now it's the posture. Lean forward for me on that knee. Come in, yes, nice. And then this other hand, come down like on the calf part of your leg maybe, yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's nice. And just bias your face the other direction, correct. Good, that's it, hold it there. We come right here, hold it, untilt the head a little this way. Yep, that's it. This one a little happier. That's it, hold it there. Hang tight, hang tight. So far, I'm I can't lie guys, so far I'm pretty disappointed. It's not at all what I was hoping for. I don't care if it's the MC11, I don't care if it's the Metabones Mark V adapter. I'm using my 85 prime, I'm using my 70-200. Yeah, I could try the 50, I could try the 16-35, but let's be honest, 90% of my shots with these two lenses, it's not responsive with the adapters. It's just not locking the IAF. The face detect is hit or miss. Even manually using my point, when I get the point to the outer bands, and not even to the very far ends of the viewfinder, but even like I'll start at center and I'll go like 20% up. I'll split the difference between center and the very end, like right in the middle, and even that on these lenses, it's really struggling. It's in and out focus. It's not locking down. Current firmware on both the adapters, guys. This is 2018. I don't know. It's not doing it. I wish I had native glass. I wish I had the G Master 70-200 by Sony or the Sony 1.4-85. I don't have it now. My other assistant does have native. He has the native 85mm lens. I don't know if it's a G Master or not. So at tomorrow's wedding, I'm gonna throw that on the camera and just compare it. That's assuming I'm able to even shoot with this at the wedding. It's really that bad. So I don't know, guys. We'll see here. We'll see if something magically changes here. You know, that's like, did I forget to put double A's in something? Like it's really like it's to the point where you ever pick up your camera and you're like, oh man, what's going on? You're like, oh, it's a manual focus. You know, flip it to, and then it's like a light bulb. It's kind of like that today. It's like, is the lens even in the right focus mode? Like it's that. Basically, just want to cry because I really wanted to switch. But it doesn't look good for the Tiger. Oh my God.
Good.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Bend that knee, bring the heel up, just like you're doing. Just more of it. Keep that shoe close to the other one. I know it's tricky. Yes. Right. Roll the heel. Right. Like that. Bend the knee more. Lean forward. Yes. Lean forward toward me a little bit. I know it's hard. Good. That's it. Very nice. Turn your face into the light. That's it. Roll the elbow here back a bit more. Too much. So we're going to create that space so it chisels you out. Very nice. Good. Let me just try there. Hang tight there. All right, so let's do this. Turn back away from me. So you like look back toward me. Yeah, like that. Yes. Cross the one leg over. Good. Let me see. Here, back up toward me a little bit as a starting, or yeah. But you find a good footing there. That's most important. That work like there? Yeah, like kind of like that. Good. All right. Bring this light in a little bit now, closer to her. That's nice. Yes. Just yep. Bring it in. Good. About like that. Hold it there. Let me just have you just so I can kind of see the framing. Just carefully hop up there in that little section, that little space. There we go. Hop back just slightly. Take like a half step back. Now, in that position, you're like this, right? What we want to do is diminish the hip, the waistline. So the way to do that is we have to push the waist back. And it can be, yes, like that, yes, more like that, right, hold it like there, hold it right there, it's good. That creates a nice shape, so just like that. Now to lean your whole body toward me a little bit, I know it's careful, it's tricky, that's it. Keep the face into the light like there, good. Hold it there, I know, right? Hold it. And I apologize for all these delays, it literally is the camera. Normally, the photographer never blames the camera. This is a day I can blame it. Hold it there. Eyes only to me. Yeah, turn my chin a little my way. Right there, good, hold it. Stand by, hold it there, hang on. Hold on, come on, focus, damn it. Let's do it, come on, hang on. Hold it. This is unbelievable, it's just not doing it. Hang on. I mean, it literally goes from one side, stay like that. I'm just talking out loud, just hold it there. Come on. It's hunting. Because her face is in the top part of that frame, as you can tell by the composition here, but it has to be. You know, there's no compromise there with that. It has to be where it is. Let me come back a little, let me just try to shift it up. Yeah, it makes no difference. IAF, not responsive at all. It's just not doing it. Hang on. Okay, there's one. I mean, it's like, the A9 with Canon glass, with both the Metabones and the MC11 adapter, I don't think that's anywhere near ready for professional use, unless you're completely manually focusing on everything. The IAF is in some cases non-responsive. The flexi spot point, small, medium, large, is a nightmare once you get anywhere beyond the center portions of the viewfinder, which defeats the whole purpose of the 693 points. You really need native glass. I'm here now, and I'm telling you, like, this is straight up. This is what it is. It's very frustrating. I want to start breaking things. Not good. If these turn out bad, we'll do another shoot with my real camera, and then we'll roll, okay? Don't you worry.
Okay, rolling.
Okay. So, first of all, that model that we had, super awesome girl. If you're a photographer and you're looking for a model at a reasonable price, send me a DM on Instagram and I'll send you her information. Super amazing, great personality, smoking hot. What more could you want? Here's the thing, okay? This did not work at all like what I was expecting, and I'm so upset. I mean, I'm not really upset. I mean, I'm upset because I spent like hundreds of dollars to figure this out for myself. But I was going on the YouTube videos of everybody that was raving about the A9, all these videos that I've seen where like they're like, oh, the AF detects perfect. Even Jason Linear's video with the Sony 7A III with the MC11 adapter, his video is the one that like in my head sold it, and I was like, all right, this is solid. If it's gonna work for him and it's tracking, and his video was right, it did work, it did track. I don't know, there's nothing wrong with my lenses. They work perfect. It's the Mark II version of all these lenses. A9, there's nothing wrong with that camera. Guys, it is not working in a real world scenario. Like when you shoot, as soon as I was getting the autofocus point anywhere near the edge. Now, let me be clear here. So what I was doing as a baseline, as a safe point, is I was just going to the center focus point, flexi point, large, medium, small, made no difference, okay? Start in the center, halfway down, pre-focus on my subject. I was like, okay, so there, now I can see her clearly in the EVF. Then I would go to like IAF, and it would just blur and hunt, wouldn't find it. Face detect was hit or miss. It just, oh my God. I would start with the focus point in the center. I would get the focus. 9 times out of 10, that worked fine. The issue is that I want to do a full-length shot of the model. I'm on an 85 prime. There's no zoom. Even if there was, it doesn't make a difference. And I compose the shot so that I get shoes and head. So I need the focus to be up out of her face, right? I'm at f1.2, and I stopped down the lens at f2, 2.8, and it's made no difference. The aperture value is not what the variable is. It has to do with where the focus point is and what the focal length is of the lens, which is so weird. So what I'm saying is that on the 85, the focus point anywhere near the edges. So here's the center point, here's the far edge of the frame. I was trying to be safe and go right in between, split the difference between the two. In portrait orientation, no, not working. It is not working reliably. 1 out of every 20 pre-focuses, I might get one eye, and it's always the far eye. It wasn't doing it. Face detect, 1 out of every 10, maybe, in portrait mode. If I switch the camera to landscape and put her off center and then put the point over a little bit to the edge, not to the far edge, but like split the difference again, there it is better performance, but that's only a small fraction of the compositions. Guys, that's not going to work in a wedding scenario. That's not going to work in a run and gun scenario. It's not even going to work on a free controlled photo shoot scenario. I mean, I'm worried. I don't even have enough shots to give her that are going to be in focus. And I felt so crippled today as a photographer because I couldn't really get into like some of the specifics. I was literally fumbling with that camera, trying to get to focus. I wish, and I'm so sorry, I don't have any native glass. I'm sure if I put native lenses on it, I'm not saying the A9 is bad. It's probably way better than my 1DX. But the problem is that that's not what I care about. I care about using all the Canon glass on the A9 with an adapter, and I tested both. The Mark V Metabones, the MC11, and both of them are horseshit. They're horseshit. Yes, it works in like one scenario. Yes, it will work with the 70-200 at 135 in portrait and landscape mode with a semi, like whatever. But dude, I want to do it at 200 millimeters. I want to go at f8. I want to compress the background. I want to fill the frame. And son of a bitch, I want the eye focus to track her. And it's not doing it. It doesn't do it in autofocus single shot. It didn't do it in autofocus continuous. That's it. I'm stuck. The only way I could go to an A9 is if I dump all the glass and do a full conversion over it, and I just can't do it. Nobody that's invested as I am can do that. It's not practical. I've got a 16 to 35, I have a 70 to 200, I have an 85 1.2, I have a 50 1.2, and I have a 15 fish. That's a hell of a lot. Oh, and I have a 100 macro 2.8. I can't get rid of all that glass and convert it to Sony. It costs $10,000 in just the difference after I sell all that. I wanted these adapters to work more than anything in the world. I wanted to have a small camera body to take the weddings. I wanted the EVF. I wanted that so bad. And I'm sorry to say, as of right now, that is not happening. You hungry? You Yeah, shut it all down. Thank you. So obviously, the Tiger got a little bit riled up there. You can tell how disappointed I was and how much I wanted this to truly work as I was hoping for. My 70 to 200 performed very, very poorly with either adapter, and at the same time, I was so frustrated that I just wanted to start smashing things. But as it turned out, there's more to this story. As a matter of fact, I found that the performance of the lens really depends on the focal length used. So, for example, if I was zoomed in at 200 millimeters on my 70 to 200, it would have a horrid time trying to lock focus. But if I backed that off to say 135 or 100 millimeters, it did a better job. And the other factor is that I couldn't really use the far outer autofocus points in the viewfinder. I needed to stay closer to the center of the grid so that I had the best chance for locking focus. So it was very interesting and something that it took some time to kind of uncover. Also, holding the camera in landscape mode versus portrait orientation also seemed to make a big difference. And I'm sure this is due to the fact that some of the autofocus points are just more responsive than others with the adaptive glass. Now, on my prime glass, like the 85, it was just hit or miss altogether. Sometimes it would lock perfect, other times it would not. So it was very inconsistent and very much seemed to depend on the shooting situation, which makes it very unpredictable and very frustrating. Now, here's where things get interesting, and even more, in a way, even more frustrating. The following day, I had my wedding, and at this point, I was sure that this was going to be a big fail. But I started off the wedding day with the Sony A9, give it a chance, and it went pretty well. I shot all the macro details with my 100 macro. It was really good. Seemed to have no issues. The groom prep shots in my 70 to 200 were great in his hotel room. No real issues. Same thing with the bridal prep shots. There were no real issues. And again, I was using my telephoto lens. Now, granted, I was trying to stay away from the extreme edges of the viewfinder and trying to avoid that 200 millimeter mark. But it was good enough to use, and I used the silent shutter at the ceremony, and it was insane. It was beautiful, and I loved it. The camera did very well in low light on the dance floor with the adaptive glass, and by the time I got to the reception, I was on my dinner break, and I was really confused. I was like, how the hell could it have done so badly out in my test shoot in perfect daylight conditions, yet it's doing pretty well in the wedding situation? And I don't have the answer other than it was very frustrating and proves that there are a lot of variables at play here and proves that no static test can really determine how well this is going to work. Now, I did in fact have a chance to use a native Sony lens on the A9. My assistant had the Sony 85 1.8, which was so fast and so insane that it really showed me what this camera is capable of, and it really made me want to switch right then and there. It was amazing, and I can only imagine how amazing all the other native glass is on the Sony, like the ones I use on my 1DX, but this again is going to require a massive amount of money for me to make that switch, and this is not the whole point of this video. It goes without saying that the A9 is amazing, and with native glass it should have no issues. On the Canon side of things, I tested all of my lenses, the 70 to 200 2.8L IS, the 85 1.2 Mark II-L, 50 1.2L, 16 to 35 2.8L, the 100 2.8L IS, and even my 15mm 2.8. The 70 to 200 did the worst by far, and all the rest did about the same, which was okay at the wedding and horrible when I was outdoors on the model shoot. Another thing that I tested and noticed, which I wasn't really that happy about, was the use of off-camera flash with my high-speed Elechrome remote. I noticed that this sometimes would not fire at all. There were several dead frames that I would take, and it just wouldn't fire the lights. Something with the way the shutter works is definitely unique on the Sony. It could have been something with the hot shoe on my specific rental camera. I don't know, but I wanted to mention it But I wanted to mention it as it would be annoying if this was the case all the time, because I use a lot of off-camera flash, as I'm sure all of you know by now by looking at my channel. And I'm also not a fan of the hot shoe pinout for attached flashes. I'm talking about the tiny little pins that are in the far front of the hot shoe. For me, I'm using manual flashes almost all the time, such as the Godox V850 Mark IIs, which I bought and are amazing, by the way. And I'm going to do a short video on that soon. The issue is if you need to be very careful when placing non-TTL flashes on the hot shoe because of the pins that aren't going to be used. They could very easily get crushed, and if you're not careful, that could cause a problem. This, by far, is the most delicate hot shoe pin layout of any manufacturer, bar none, and it's a bit of a concern because I don't know how easily that could cause a short or do some other type of damage, especially in the fast-paced environments I often find myself where we're rushing to do setup shots at a wedding or get shots done before the guests enter a ballroom, things like that. So to wrap this up, the A9, amazing. Amazing camera. There's no question or debate about it. I'm sure the A7 III is also just as amazing, although I have not personally used it. I do want to point out, though, that the two cameras do not have the same autofocus system, and this is a huge misconception that many people have, and it seems that most YouTubers are doing a very poor job at conveying that. I suspect there's going to be a big difference between how responsive the A9's AF system is versus the new A7 III. Just like the case between a 5D and the 1D series of camera. The A7 III may have the same amount of AF points, it may have the same functions, but the processor behind it is going to be very different. Granted, for some of you, it will be a non-issue. For me, I'm going to notice this coming from a pro camera that I've already used for years and years. Tony and Chelsea's YouTube channel, I'll put a link below, did a great job at pointing this out, and they went into detail about what I'm talking about. So, the A7 III may have other abilities that are better than the A9 just because it's newer tech, but the speed in which that AF system is going to work and acquire subjects is likely not the same at all, and for me, that's an important factor. For you, it may not matter. It just depends. In either case, I'm more than sure that the adapted lens performance on either of the camera bodies is probably going to be about the same. So if I had no other gear, I would go Sony in a heartbeat, no questions. With native glass, I think it's going to be insane. With adaptive glass, it's not going to be a good idea for professional work ongoing. It's just not reliable enough, it's not consistent enough, and I will say that I did prefer using the MC11 adapter over the Metabones Mark V. It did seem to perform the best overall. I think that if you're a hobbyist or doing things in a studio setting where you have time and more control, there's limited expectation, then this may be okay, but for fast-paced action like a wedding, this is a no-go on adaptive glass. Because while it may have worked well for one wedding, I saw that it didn't work well outside and in other conditions, and this is enough for me to be scared and worried about the next shoot or wedding because they're all going to be different and in dynamic situations, and this needs to prove itself reliable in a variety of situations, which as of now, it's just not doing. Trust me, I wanted nothing more than to make a video saying I'm done with my 1DX and I'm switching to Sony. I even had a thumbnail all picked out for it, and I wanted to post up my Canon camera for sale. I really thought that this was going to be how this was going to go, and I was ready to buy the A9, but for now, this is not the smart move for me, and I need to wait a bit longer. I know that Canon and Nikon are going to be making announcements this year for their new full-frame mirrorless bodies. However, I highly doubt that this is going to be the pro level of these cameras out of the gate. This is going to be more of the entry level, and then they'll kind of see how they do, and then in a couple years, we'll see the real pro mirrorless cameras come out from those manufacturers. And for me, this is a long time. So yeah, it's exciting, but it's going to be a much longer wait than what I'm maybe willing to do. So I'm going to have to see once they come out, what that's going to be like, and either, and then I'll be able to kind of envision what the pro cameras may be like based on how they're going to look and feel, and kind of make an educated choice at that point to see if it will be a reality for me or not. But for now, I'm staying put. And if you're another Canon Pro with lots of glass like me, I would definitely advise doing the same thing. Sit tight, don't do this adapted switch, and see if things change. Thanks, guys, and thank you so much for those of you who have started to support me on my channel. I did an amazing in-person workshop last month on posing, lighting, and composition. It was the real deal, and I have the full video for sale on my site. It's 90 minutes long and covers a lot of things that will definitely help and change some of your photography and how you approach shoots with clients. You need to watch this video with a notepad and then take action to put the things that I teach you into practice, and you will definitely see a difference, I assure you all. You know, making content like this is hard. It's time consuming. It takes a lot of energy, and your support enables me to continue down that path of education and gives me the ability to actually start carving out more and more time for this type of content. And this is truly the direction that I would like to go. So I thank you all very much. All right, until next time. Go over camera settings. The number one thing is really consistency. Now, the physical placement of the light is important here. That's never gonna work. See, look at this. This is really cool. The problem is that all of her is facing that same direction. When you drop that chin, it builds that intensity. Now, I'm gonna take this shot. It's wrong. This is one of the things that I wanna change, but I'm gonna shoot it so I can show it, and then we're gonna change it. Stay like that. Exceed the building so that you're not introducing any highlights. There are no highlights. Turn your face more this direction like that. See that? There it is. It's all or nothing. So I wanted you in here first to see what I'm doing. So now we're gonna control this. So this is really a 3-light setup. You're having fun, right? So we're doing the breakouts now. We got 2 groups we got going on here. Let me see. Dude, it's so sick. Back
You
it
think
up.
so? Really?
There, it's all coming together. That's what you want. We are totally pulling back the curtains here.
Well, let me tell you something. This is probably one of the best workshops I've been to.
Heidi Klum was supposed to come. I had her on speed dial. I said, Heidi, I got this workshop.